Okay. Could you state your name?
My name is Jenna Greenfield.
Perfect. And what do you do here?
I'm a vice principal here.
At Jarvis Collegiate?
Yes, at Jarvis Collegiate.
Perfect. So, big question to start us off. Who is your favorite teacher of all time and why?
Oh, that's easy. Mr. Thompson, grade 11 and 12, law, geography, all the social sciences. He was just such a cool, fun teacher. Every day before we left class, we'd line up and he'd say the capital of Cuba, and if you could say the capital, he'd let you go early. And he always did mock trials, and he just loved his job. So I always wanted to be like him. I remember him so much, Sacred Heart. Like, he was such a great teacher.
What made you become a teacher in the first place?
I originally wanted to be a veterinarian and was not very good at math and science at all. Completely bombed out in grade 11. And I worked at a daycare, and so I loved working at the daycare. So I figured that I should do something to do with kids. And I actually applied to go to university to work in primary junior, but after working in the daycare for so many years, I really wanted to be able to engage in like real conversations with kids. So I felt really limited with primary, even though it was very happy. I found it very limiting on the difference that I could make on the long-term goals in their life.
Why did you decide to become a VP?
Oh, I don't know. I regret it sometimes. I miss teaching, but I wanted to make a bigger change in a school, and I felt really limited as a teacher. So as a teacher, I would take my ideas to admin, and then admin would roll out your idea, right? And you would still be the one that ran it, took all the credit for it. I felt after teaching for, I think it was 10 years, like I moved schools, I moved courses, like it gets repetitive, and I found it I always wanted to know what was going on in the office and what's going on with that kid, and I felt like I wanted to kind of be a part of the bigger picture.
What is your favorite part about being a VP, and then least favorite part?
Okay, my favorite part about being a VP is when a year is done, seeing all the kids that you've really, really helped. So at my old school, oh my gosh, the kids were so needy and so not like kids at Jarvis. Like, this to me is I don't really see kids a lot here.
Really?
They're not, unless I'm seeking them out. It's attendance referrals. There's no behavior issues here. So I'm struggling with like what keeps me busy down here, right? But at my old school, I was at Danforth Tech, which is a very, very like low socioeconomical school. Kids are coming from like just disgusting homes, and like parents that just let them do what they want, and it's moving those kids along and showing them that there's more than welfare, and this is like going to the workplace and going into college and giving them options that they would have never found for themselves. And that to me, and still keeping in contact with those kids and knowing that we've moved kids along by harassing teachers to take them back in class and getting them work packages, and really kind of doing everything we can to get these kids out of high school. And that to me is like the most rewarding thing, is knowing like you've moved kids along in a positive way, whereas like if you didn't intervene, they would be 18 on welfare, and there goes the rest of their lives. My least favorite part is when parents don't, like, you send a kid home, you suspend a kid, the kid comes back, does it again, and the parents are not supportive of you trying to like change their behavior. Parents are very a lot of parents, they don't want to recognize that it's an issue, and I think that that's where these kids get caught into like that power struggle of they struggle with the teacher, they struggle with the parent, but there's no long-term options for some kids, and I find it very difficult as an administrator to say we're going to do something, and then staff's like, no, we're not going to do that.
If you were to go to a grade 7 and 8 school to recruit young recruits, what would you say to those students?
About Jarvis?
Yeah.
I love this school. I could say, and I couldn't stop. It's multicultural, it's inclusive, it's friendly, kids are involved, it's academic. Like, they're mostly all university-bound kids, and college-bound too. The teachers are great, the staff is great. We have a great guidance department. We have pathways in the building. We have an ESL program. We have any sport you need. I really strongly think that this is such a great school that's thriving. And if I had a kid, I would send my kid here. Like I think that it's a really fun happening school, and we're moving along. And I really think that we've got some great programs coming up next year, and that I can't imagine any kid not being happy here.
What advice would you give to a teacher candidate like myself, who actually wants to be employed at some point?
I would say be annoying, be aggressive, be in people's faces, be like, it's so different than what I had to do, so it's easy for me to give advice when like I didn't have to do that. But like when you get your interview, I can't stress enough, like, wow factor. And it has to be not scripted. It has to be kind of how I like passionate, and like you love it and you can't wait, and you're going to do anything and everything, and you're going to assess properly and use learning goals and success criteria and use all the board language, talk about making changes and working with your admin and working with your department head. And it's just all about the big picture of, yes, you're one teacher, but that one teacher can shift a school. And I strongly believe that. Like, I'm all about, let's hire younger people, which is, you don't want to openly say aloud, but like new teachers, they move with you and they have better ideas than I have. And, they really are there to volunteer, coach sports, be with that kid after class, call that parent at 9:00. And it's all about like that wanting to do it for no money, coming out of debt, that I think is like the most inspiring about younger teachers, right? But it's just very cautious too, because you have to really understand that people like sing a great song and then they get hired, and it's like, oh, I can't, I have like volleyball after, like my own personal volleyball, or oh, I've got to go see my friend tonight. And not to say like you're not supposed to have a life, but my first year I what do you want me to do? Okay, I coach badminton. Like, I've never played badminton a day in my life. Like, take the kids tobogganing, like just do anything to give kids an opportunity that they wouldn't already have. And I think that that's part of when you walk out of the building today, you go in and you see Harvey and you make it, I'll be on the list come spring. I'm bio. In the spring, you send an email. Remember me, I'm Stephanie Chdorovitch's. Like, you can't just fade away. Like, you have to be in people's faces. Like, Colin Grosny, just as an example. Do you remember him?
Yeah.
No. So his LTO ended, Georgia came back, and he was so fabulous. And my principal calls me from my old school, do you have anyone with bio? I was like, I do have someone with bio. I'm pretty sure Colin had history and bio, and he now has a full-time job there. Like, it just happens so randomly for some people that, you just have to be visible. And I know you're going to walk out and not be visible, but it doesn't mean you don't send an email once you've gotten your OCT papers and you've got and walk back in the building and see the kids and see Stephanie, and you have to be out there. That's my advice.